Okay, I'd like to call to order Public Works Committee, March 13th, getting ahead of myself, 5 p.m. Cindy, could I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Chair Felker,
I'm here.
Vice Chair DeMoro,
Here.
Councilmember Edson. Here. Councilmember Pryor. Here.
We have a quorum, and now I'd like to see if we could have an approval of the agenda.
Chair,
Member Edson, please.
I move to approve the agenda for the Public Works Committee for March 13th of 2023.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Edson, a second by Councilmember Pryor to approve the agenda. Have a roll call, please.
Chairman Felker,
Aye.
Vice Chair DeMoro,
Aye.
Councilmember Edson,
Aye.
Councilmember Pryor. Aye.
Agenda is approved. Any public comments today? No public comments. All right. We'll move on with business. Item 5A, can I have a motion for approval of the Public Works Committee action letter?
Chair, I move to approve the February 13th, 2023 Public Works Committee action letter.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember DeMoro and a second by Councilmember Pryor to approve our February 13th, 2023 Public Works Committee action letter. May I have a roll call, please?
Chair Felker,
Aye.
Vice Chair DeMoro,
Aye.
Councilmember Edson,
Aye.
and Councilmember Pryor. Aye.
Action letter is approved. Our first item, TMP 2598. Mr. Thorne, are you coming up to the podium for us today?
Good evening, Jeff Thorne, Deputy Director, Water Utilities. I bring before you a contract modification with HDR Engineering, Inc. It's for condition assessment. We do condition assessment on our high consequence of failure lines, lines of such size or such importance or such location that the loss of them would incur great issues with doing the performance of our duties, or damage to facilities, or shut down major users. So in this case, we are looking at two main water main feed lines coming in from Independence, a 16-inch pre-stressed concrete cylinder pipe, and a 20-inch ductile iron line, which both come in from up by the Blue River, and then come into our Bolin pump station area just north of the Lakewood Dam. Previously, we used a technology to do an inspection on a 30-inch water line that came in from Bolin down to our high service pump station down at Chipman and Douglas. That uses a technology called Pipe Diver. It is a free swimming tool that goes through the pipe, emits electromagnetic pulses, and indicates the condition of the reinforcing wires in the concrete pipe. So that is for the 16-inch line. The 20-inch line is a metallic ductile iron line. The condition of that is a little bit more sketchy. We've had a couple breaks in the last few years on it. We're looking in that case to look at how much of that line and when to replace that line, and that'll inform us off of this project. So the larger cost of the two is for the free swimming tool inside the pre-stressed concrete cylinder pipe, and then the smaller cost is to do the visual inspections of the ductile iron line, where we'll dig some holes and do some inspections, do some soil testing, etc. This project is funded through our CIP approval, and then it's also, part of it's funded off some savings from phase one of the project. So happy to answer any questions you might have on this.
Members of the committee, do you have any questions? I think you answered the ones I was thinking of, so trying to make it not too easy on you. Sure, guys? No questions. Okay. Well, sounds like it's a good project we need to do, and in terms of trying to better understand what we need to do.
Yeah.
That's what we're at now, is still trying to figure it out. Great. Members, any further comments, Mr. Thorne?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Members of the committee, I'd entertain a motion.
Chair,
Councilmember DeMoro.
I move to send to the full council with a recommendation for approval, TMP 2598, an ordinance approving modification number 1 to the agreement between the City of Lee Summit, Missouri, and HDR Engineering, Inc. for professional engineering services for transmission large diameter sewers and force main condition assessment and management program, RFQ 2019-002, for an increase of $519,300 with an amended not to exceed amount of $2,045,680, and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilmember DeMauro, second by Councilmember Edson to advance TMP 2598 with a recommendation for approval of the City Council. Do any further discussion? Can I have a roll call, please?
Chairman Felker,
Aye.
Vice Chair DeMauro,
Aye.
Councilmember Edson,
Aye.
and Councilmember Pryor. Aye.
Thank you. Matter passes. We'll see it in a few weeks, I think. Mr. Thorne, we get you for the next one as well? TMP
Sure, Amanda's here, but I'll
2592?
deal with it.
Okay. Oh, she gets a break. She's
She
back
gets a
there.
bye. She's got to just let me know if I lie up here. We have a modification to an agreement between us and Burns and McDonnell for the West Prairie Lee sanitary sewer design. In the initial phase, they did a study for us, reviewed the options on what we can do on that, helped us determine a size on the line and what our replacement options are. The West Prairie Lee line runs from essentially this building all the way down to our Tudor Road pump station. But once you get to the lake there by Hy-Vee, it's already a dual line. So we've got some hydraulic impairment going under 291 and then through the neighborhoods as we come up into the center of the city. And obviously there's some work also coming up downtown for some densification and for some other things, and this will take into account for that. So we've asked them to do a design on this. This project is one of the projects we're going to use as some match money. We received a grant from the ARPA side of things for $10.5 million for sewer work in an effort to keep that, collect that money and move it forward in time. We are applying it to some of the projects that we already have funded, such as this one. And we were going to use that to help gather that money, and then we got when you see our CIP, you'll see an ARPA $10.5 million in like the 5th year. That's how we're moving that money out to there, because we have to have it encumbered and spent by 2026. So this project will be used for that also. It's another large diameter sewer project, not unlike what we've got going on in the McClendon Ditch area starting up now. The sewers coming out of downtown had some capacity issues. There were areas that if we saw overflows, they were the first spots we would notice them. This will help solve that as well as support development. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions from the committee? We just like to spend money up here, I guess. No, it's great. So, so this again, similar to our last, we're just trying to learn more about what needs to happen and get feedback as to what next steps might be. Because what you're talking about here is going to run right through or underneath where everything's going to happen across the street.
Yep.
And then obviously go beyond. So it's potential that this then turns into something more down the road.
Well, this will be the design.
Right.
So we're taking into account the stuff happening across the street. Actually, I've got a meeting popped up on calendar for that today, so we can discuss some of that, as well as routing in other areas as we come through here to try to create the least impact we can.
Very good. And so in terms of, you compared it to the McClendon project, timing-wise, how, like, is there, to get to where that project is now, how long do you think we'd be looking out into the future?
I'd like to think that we're bidding this by this coming spring, and then into construction. Once again, these funds will have to be spent in final and total by 2026, so have to be fully encumbered in December 31 of 24.
And so, and explain that again with the ARPA, and I remember we've talked about this. This is the 10 million that we secured really via this, our advocacy with the state of
Yep.
Missouri, right?
Yep, that's correct.
And so we have to find projects to actually fund that, and then so that then frees up other, as the way I'm understanding that, then it's freeing up other money that we can use towards projects. Am I
Yeah,
hearing
it
that?
was kind of aimed at some projects up north, which have kind of stalled.
Right.
So as opposed to putting in infrastructure and leaving it sit unused, we're gonna hold on for a second, but we're gonna gather those funds from the state anyway, and then we'll spend them out later. We're just rolling them forward.
Okay. I don't see any other one else asking questions, so any other comments, Mr. Thorne?
No,
Okay,
thank you.
I'd entertain a motion. Committee?
Chair,
Councilmember Pryor.
thank you. I move to advance to council for approval TMP 2592, an ordinance approving modification number 1 to the agreement between the City of Lee Summit, Missouri and Burns and McDonnell Engineering Company, Inc. for professional engineering services for West Prairie Lee Sewer Modeling and Design Services, RFQ number 2022-012, for an increase of $427,406 with an amended not-to-exceed amount of $558,355 and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Pryor, second by Councilmember Edson to advance TMP 2592 with the recommendation for City Council. Any further comments? Have a roll call, please.
Chairman Felker,
Aye.
Vice Chair DeMorro,
Aye.
Councilmember Edson,
Aye.
Councilmember Pryor.
Aye.
All right, the matter advances. Now moving on to TMP 2538. Mr. Vince Schmager is going to speak to us tonight. I say tonight, but now that it's lighter, longer, is that it? So we can just go all night.
That's a good thing, right?
I guess so.
Vince Schmaker, Project Manager, Public Works. This evening I have for your consideration a recommendation for approval of the FY 23-2 curb replacement program to Quality Custom Construction. This is a continuation of our replacement program of curbs that were primarily installed between 1985 and 2008. Around 1985, while still meeting the specifications, the limestone aggregate used in the curb was getting soft and absorbing water, which with the moisture and then the freezing, the curb just started disintegrating and popping out. In 2008, it was approved for us to move to a more durable aggregate granite in the curb. So we're in the process of replacing about 612 miles of curb. Prior to this agreement here, we've replaced about 305. So we're right at the halfway point. This project was advertised on February 2nd. 3 bids were received by the bid opening of February 24th. Quality Custom Construction was determined to be the lowest and best responsive bidder. This project is funded by the permanent local half-cent sales tax. This is with funds remaining from the FY23 pavement management program, overlay, slurry seal, crack seal, and curb money. So this project specifically will replace about 13,000 linear feet of curb, about 2.5 miles in 2 specific areas. This will be just a 60-day contract. And we expect the construction to take place basically between April and June. With that, I take any questions.
Thanks, Chair. Vince, I have a question about the construction contract.
Yes, sir.
It states, the one in our packet states it's with Phoenix Concrete and Underground and not the,
That one was that was changed. We saw that, but it was updated after the contract went through,
okay, all right.
or after the packet was finalized, because that one also had like 85,000 feet of curb.
Yes, it does. Okay, so the one we'll see at the council will actually be the Quality Custom Construction?
Right.
Just, okay.
Sorry about that.
No, that's no problem. Yeah, that just kind of like a sore thumb. I'm reading. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember DeMorro. Other questions from committee? Yes, Councilmember Edson?
What's your lifespan on new curbs that go down?
Hopefully 50, 75 years minimum.
Woohoo.
I mean, we have, you go around downtown Lee Summit here, we'll have some curbs that are broken, cracked just from moving a little bit, but they're not falling apart. They're still solid.
Yeah.
So that's what we're
Yeah.
hoping to get.
Just that time period.
It-
where-
Right.
Good, yeah.
Everything met specifications, but it's all over the metro. It wasn't just Lee Summit.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I was just wondering with the new ones, what your lifespan was projected to
Yeah,
be.
the granite's a little more brittle, but it doesn't dissolve.
Oh, okay.
So you may still get cracks. Cracks will, if you pour concrete, you know it's going to crack at some point.
Yeah,
But this isn't going to fall apart.
great. All right, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Edson. Mr. Schmager, so what I'm hearing here with this is we have some funds that were unspent from our prior crack seal, curb replacement, from that happened
Overlay and
previously.
slurry seal, right.
Right, so we have are there any other additional funds available, or is this kind of tapping out?
This pretty much taps out this year's projects.
Okay, and so then, and typically, this series of projects happens, what months is it typically happening within? If I-
June through about November,
Okay.
as far as the whole pavement management program cycle each year.
Okay. So it won't be too long, we'll be seeing next year's.
Overlay is currently on the street, and we'll be opening it end of the month, and I'll have it for you next month.
Okay, great. Then my only other question, so the two areas on the map are Chapel Lakes Elementary up north.
Right.
And then Blackwell, so both pretty, I would imagine, at least Chapel Lakes is pretty busy twice a day, I know, if not more often.
Right, that's the part that's going to probably roll into June because school gets out
Okay.
May 25th. So we're planning
Okay,
on coming
waiting.
in there and trying to eliminate that problem a little bit.
Okay, and then Blackwell, obviously, I know it's not my side of town, it's your side of town, I think, Councilmember tomorrow, but I know I drive it plenty, getting up there to the fields and other things, so, just thinking about how busy that road is, but I assume that you break that up into chunks where you're doing one side first and then get back to
Correct.
the other.
Right, and actually, the contractor that's doing this is the same one that put the medians in about 5 years ago. So he's familiar with the traffic load on that street.
Great. Okay. All right, any other questions? All right, I would entertain a motion.
Chair?
Councilmember Edson?
I move to recommend to council for approval TMP-2538, an ordinance awarding the bid for project number 74-2 for the curb repair FY 23-2 program to Quality Custom Concepts, Inc., DBA Quality Custom Construction in the amount of $390,322.66, and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Edson, a second by Councilmember DeMauro to advance to City Council with a recommendation for approval, TMP 2538. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll have a roll call, please.
Chairman Felker,
Aye.
Vice Chair DeMauro,
Aye.
Councilmember Edson,
Aye.
Councilmember Pryor,
Aye.
All right, the matter advances. We move now to TMP 2576. John Percy.
Good evening, Council. John Persing, Staff Engineer, Public Works. This item is for a dual award of RFP 2023-028 to SAK Construction LLC and ProShot Concrete, Inc. for our on-call trenchless CMP rehab contract. So with this contract, we'll be able to repair and rehabilitate corrugated metal storm pipes without digging them up, and that'll minimize disruption to the traveling public, and by having them on call, it'll allow us to react quickly when we find them, so. And
I
any
was
other
wondering,
questions?
I was thinking we'd ask for a demonstration tonight, how that actually gets done, like.
Sure, so there's a couple different technologies that they can use, and that's why we picked a couple different firms, because they offer some different technologies. One of them, cured in place pipe, is something we use a lot in sanitary world, but they can use it in these larger diameters too, where it's essentially like a felt sock that gets impregnated with an epoxy resin, and they kind of
Blasted.
blow it up like a balloon almost inside that pipe, and then they cure the pipe, and it becomes a structural pipe inside of it. So that's one technique they can use. They can use a spray-on concrete where they'll go in and they'll put rebar or some kind of a metal cage inside the pipe and then go in with a concrete hose. Some of them use a hose, a sprinkler, or something that looks like that. There, it puts a layer of concrete, reinforced concrete, and so you can rehab these pipes without digging a hole, you know. So when we're crossing an arterial road, for instance, you know, we wouldn't have to dig that up. We could use these contractors to do that, to minimize disruption and surface restoration and utility coordination. Those kind of things all kind of become moot, so.
And I guess I would imagine by necessity, the pipe then kind of has a little bit lesser capacity.
So usually, yeah, you'll see a decrease in diameter of the pipe, but the capacity of the pipe usually doesn't change a whole lot just because the roughness of the pipe. So when when you're calculating how much flow a pipe can handle, the roughness of a pipe is one of the factors considered. So when you have this corrugated metal pipe versus a slick, smooth, say we do the CIPP, then you could lose some capacity, but it kind of gets negated by that roughness, so.
Okay. Any questions? Councilmember DeMauro?
Thank you, Chair. John, is this an ongoing project
So this will be
list?
part of the CMP rehab project.
So it's an ongoing project?
It's in the CIP.
And you just finish one project, go to another as needs arise, or?
Yeah, so we have the CMP project. We're kind of in the middle of prioritizing right now, but generally, yeah, as needs arise and we can come out and go after them and get them.
So sort of open-ended, I know.
Yeah, I mean, we have, I think, 120 miles of corrugated
Yeah,
metal
that's what I
pipe.
was
You
just
might
gonna
have
ask.
saw in our utility presentation, so.
I was gonna ask.
A lot of that pipe has about an estimated 40 to 50-year lifespan and was put in the 80s and 90s, so it's kind of all starting to come due.
I know the one on Ridgeview that was done, people didn't even know they were working underneath the road. They
Yeah.
were
Council-
stealth.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
George Banger City, just to clarify on your question, the funding for this is from our 2017 CIP sales tax. So
Okay.
that's the sales tax that will expire in 10 years from now. And as part of that, we allocated some money for stormwater, which includes the CMP rehab, as part of that stormwater allocation. And so that's what's funding this, this project. So this funding does have a sunset allocated to it, but this just gives a chance to get some of these high consequence of failure and high need pipes rehabbed now while we can.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, George. Thank you, John. Thank you, Chair.
Councilmember Edson?
Thank you. So were these were the only two firms that bid on this, right?
There are 2 respondents, yeah.
So, do you think that that's because it's so specialized?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wondering, I always like to have a lot of respondents,
Yeah,
at least 3 or
always,
4,
yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You thinking of a side gig?
Maybe, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Further questions from the committee? Any further comments, Mr. Persing?
None for me.
Appreciate you sharing. Entertain a motion on TMP 2576.
Chair,
Councilmember DeMauro.
I move to send to the full council with recommendation for approval of TMP 2576, an ordinance approving a dual award of RFP 2023-028 to SAK Construction LLC and ProShot Concrete, Inc. for corrugated metal pipe rehab using trenchless technology and related products and services for a 1-year term with possible 1-year renewal options, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember DeMauro, a second by Councilmember Edson, to advance TMP 2576 to full council with a recommendation for approval. Have a roll call, please.
Chairman Felker,
Aye.
Vice Chair DeMauro,
Aye.
Councilmember Edson,
Aye.
and Councilmember Pryor.
Aye.
Okay, the matter advances. We'll go on to TMP 2577. Mr. Park.
Yes, I'll stand in for Hector. Michael Park, Director of Public Works. So what we have before you is staff's recommendation for an ordinance to establish an access easement across a piece of city property. This is city-owned parcel as opposed to a right-of-way, and it's just on the south side of Chipman Road and the east side of the Union Pacific Railroad, right where the bridge crosses over the top of the rail. And so this property was acquired back when the Chipman Road project was completed as a way of protecting our investment in the abutment and the servicing of that bridge structure itself and the roadway elevation. It came to our attention as we were approached by the adjacent property owner, the lumber company. As a condition of their sale, they needed access assurances, and just having ownership as in the city's name was not enough, so they requested that an access easement be established, and that's what we're seeking here before you tonight.
Questions from the committee? So we own a strip that runs east-west, and they're just wanting access to the drive.
They've had this driveway for a long time. They just want the right for continued access through an easement. Normally, that would be provided by right-of-way, but this isn't right-of-way, as I said. It's city-owned property and fee.
Got it. Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion on this matter.
Chair,
Councilmember Edson?
I move to recommend to council for approval TMP-2577, an ordinance approving an access easement across a city-owned parcel addressed 225 Northwest Chipman Road for the benefit of 221 Northwest Chipman Road LLC, and authorizing the mayor to execute the same. Before we get a second, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Councilmember Edson. Because it's a land conveyance of an easement on the city's property, it needs to be done by the mayor.
No, I guess I'm asking about the 221 Northwest Chipman Road LLC.
Yeah, they are the adjacent property owner with the driveway over the property, so they're the benefactor of this easement.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Edson and a second by Councilmember Demaro to advance TMP 2577 to the full council for approval. The recommendation for approval. I have any further discussion? I'd have a roll call, please.
Chairman Felker,
Aye.
Vice Chair DeMoro,
Aye.
Councilmember Edson,
Aye.
and Councilmember Pryor.
Aye.
All right, the matter advances. Moving on to TMP 2580. Mr. Arrington, you speak to us for a moment.
All right, good evening, Joel Arrington, Airport Manager. This item is where the airport has received a request from MJ Aviation Innovations to renew their FBO agreement to provide aircraft maintenance and inspections on aircraft at the airport. Just a little bit of brief history. They've been in business at the airport since 2016, and they're currently looking at developing a hangar on the airport. Hopefully this year. We'll see how the prices either go up or go down on steel. This agreement will place them in Hangar 1, which is where they've been since 2018-ish, and will generate approximately $37,800. And staff does recommend the approval of this FBO agreement. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions from the committee? I don't think I have any myself, so any other comments? Okay. Then I would entertain a motion.
Chair,
Councilmember Pryor?
I move to advance to council for approval TMP 2580, an ordinance approving a fixed base operator FBO agreement between the City of Lee Summit, Missouri and MJ Aviation Innovations LLC for an initial period of 2 years to perform aviation services at the Lee Summit Municipal Airport and authorizing the mayor to execute the same.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Pryor, a second by Councilmember Edson to advance to City Council with the recommendation for approval, TMP 2580. Any further discussion? Have a roll call, please.
Chairman Felker,
Aye.
Vice Chair DeMoro,
Aye.
Councilmember Edson,
Aye.
and Councilmember Pryor.
Aye.
Okay, the matter is approved. Make quick work tonight, this afternoon. Maybe we're all tired from having to move our clocks up. Do we have anything with roundtable today?
I just make mention, we had the presentation to the full city council on stormwater utility rate study that we are still sending invitations to a very diverse group, hoping to form that committee and begin their work. So if you have members within the community that you would like to put forward that generally are not associated with, a certain business, school, or home association, but kind of that resident that's not represented more broadly, send those to me with copy to city manager's office, and we'll get that to Mr. Binger for his consideration. I don't have anything else, thank you.
How much longer will you take recommendations?
Some of those invitations that we had identified, certain targeted audiences are already going out. Those that are more individualized, I think if we can just get a small sampling representation of home association or property owner association homeowners within the community, really hopefully those that are focused within some parts of our community that experience more flooding, that would round out the committee. So we're really just looking for those individual homeowners that don't have the benefit of a represented board to have a voice on their behalf. Timeline, we're expecting to begin those first Stormwater Utility Advisory Committee meetings this month.
This month?
Yes,
Remind me,
in
what-
March,
what
towards the
day-
end of the month.
What day, is it already scheduled?
No,
can't
we
remember
haven't
it.
set the
Okay.
date yet. We need to work with some of those schedules, and I'm sure they will also appoint alternates to attend on their behalf. But over the course of the next really 3 to 4 months, hosting, I believe we're really focused on 3 different meetings, each one approximately 2 hours in duration. During normal business hours, that would be our intention.
Okay, so if we're gonna, if anyone on the committee has names, I think it sounds like we need to move kind of quickly. I'm looking at Councilmember Pryor, because I know she knows some people. Because it's your district, I think, that probably would have a lot to say about it and may not have the same homeowner association representation. Any other roundtable from committee? So just want to hang out and talk a little longer? No? Okay, I think we're good.
No, you didn't provide dinner, so.
No dinner, so we're just going to call it good and go home. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, staff, for being here. Appreciate it. Our meeting is now adjourned at 5:34. Can do that.